My father died when I was 18. He died of old age, basically. I was born when he was 60. After that, I started to have spontaneous out-of-body experiences. Before this started to happen to me, I was extremely skeptical of everything. I was like this big megalomaniac, which is basically all my insecurities, trying to compensate. I was skeptical, like despised anything religious, anything spiritual, anything like out of my very, very small comfort zone. And we all have these comfort zones when we grow up because life is like hard, especially as a kid when you grow up in your like early years and teens and early 20s. It's not easy to be at that age. I would certainly not want to go back to being 20 years old. No, thank you. And it's hard at that age because you constantly need to prove yourself. You need to establish a presence in this life that's only seemingly trying to crush you down. And you develop this persona of this either macho or some identity that you allow to take over you. Like you're a rocker and you're a punkhead and you're a freak and you're a geek and you're a whatever. All these social identifications. It just gets built as a survival mechanism. We need to build this fake persona so we don't get crushed under this unbearable weight of this parasitical and predatory narratives that we call reality. So you have to build this armor. And I think most of us do it, consciously or not, mostly unconsciously. And when the wall is built, it's very difficult to break down. So I had this wall. I had this fake persona. I had this skeptical, fuck it all attitude. I knew better than everyone else. I was smarter in my own mind, of course. And then my father died. And I loved him dearly, very, very much. And all of a sudden, someone or something that you took for granted all your life is no longer in your life. So the question is, okay, this constant is now gone. So who are you now? What remains of your identity if such a big part of it is gone? Who are you now? And I had no idea. I was left clueless. And I started to feel strange after he died. I was a little like a zombie for 6 months. I couldn't really internalize it. And after a while, just one night I was awake, like really awake, in my room, and he appeared to me. My father, who just died like almost a year ago. He appeared to me like visually. And I started to scream, what the fuck is going on? I was scared. I missed it so much, but it was so fucking scary. I was sure I'm going crazy. And a few days later, I actually went to the cemetery to make sure he's dead because I didn't know what's real anymore. And then a few weeks later, during the night, my phone rang. I had this little wired phone next to my bed. And I picked it up and it was my father. And he spoke to me on the phone. And he said that he didn't want to see, he saw that it scared me when he appeared to me visually. And now he's going to contact me on the audio only. And we spoke for like 2 hours. And then I just phased back into wakefulness. And I still had the phone in my hand. And it wasn't like, it was like silent. And I put it back on and then our connection started. And now, so many years later, I can say that I got to know him better after he died than I knew him when he was alive. But my point is that once my fake identity broke down, because such a key part of it just gone, it triggered something else inside me. This longing triggered some latent, dormant abilities or connectivity. I don't want to put any label on it that is too strict, but it triggered something. A new narrative started to develop. And it was terrifying It was scary, but it left me no choice. And I kept having those out-of-body experiences and starting to travel into different realms. And in the beginning, they were all spontaneous. I didn't work on it. I didn't try to do it. It just happened. I just found myself floating above my body and in my room, and then I could like fly, go outside, pass through the walls, like fly around the trees. And in the beginning, it was very playful. And then I had to learn how to navigate, but it was playful and yet scary. And I had some minor issues, like a cough or something. I went to my doctor and I told her that I have out-of-body experiences and that I have strange feelings in my body, and there was nothing wrong with me physically. But this doctor, she took me to a psychiatrist immediately. And luckily for me, the psychiatrist was not a formally employed psychiatrist. It was an older guy, retired from America, from Florida, I remember. And he accepted to treat me like off the book, without like a record. So there is no record of our meetings. And then he started to talk with me and said that maybe all this stuff that you're experiencing, maybe it's trying to tell you something. And the fear comes from it controlling you, but maybe we can reverse this. Maybe you can control this experience. Maybe it will lead you to something that it's trying to tell you. I don't know where this guy studied psychiatry, but it obviously was the right place for me. And he was like a key person that I met on my path who was able to calm me down and tell me that I'm not necessarily crazy and that maybe this stuff is for a reason. And this started to change me, and it was like a gateway for me into a brand new narrative, which became the largest story of my life. Because something that you took for granted is taken away from you. And this is called like real life initiation. You know, you go to various temples and gurus and orders and rites, and they give you all these initiations that you have to do a sequence of events, and then they tell you something, and then you hold something, and then you dress up with something, and then blah, 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 and then you initiate it. Fuck that. Like, no initiation can compete with what life brings you unexpectedly. Life is the best initiator.